Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Elite Dangerous in VR. This is where I take a look at the game through the Oculus Rift. And today we're looking at the new Federal Gunship. This of course is on the new 1.4 beta patch and it will be going live to the main servers at some point next week. So if you're a regular follower of this particular series, you'll know by now that with the Oculus Rift you can not only look around your ship, but you can stand up and have limited capacity to walk around your bridge. So behind me we've got the Gunships Bridge. It's very similar to the Vulture and the Dropship. The Vulture is quite a bit smaller. The rear wall is just behind the co-pilot seat there, and that co-pilot seat is the one I sat in on my Vulture in VR video. I actually did a bit of combat from there. Underneath there we've got what looks like a little cargo area. If I can just reach over and get the joystick here, I should be able to reposition the ship to get some light down there. It looks like we've got some rem lock boxes. Let's see if we can get in for a closer look. So the straps are obviously holding that all in place. We don't want them coming flying around. I can't quite move around to see the rem in the rem lock. I wonder what's in there, possibly a suit, or at the very least storage for the suit I'm currently wearing. And of course over to the right here we've got some steps that lead up to the bridge area. There is some console panels at the back here, but it doesn't look like they're the sort of panels that someone would stand at and operate, as you see in ships like the Anaconda, Python and the Clipper. Now it's also possible to get closer to the front dashboard here. On other ships you can actually lean over and see into the nose of the ship, but because the cockpit here is right at the very front of the ship, we can't actually do that. We can't see any more of the ship than we can from the pilot seat. So of course the one thing everyone wants to look at when they take a look at the Federal Gunship is its ability and capabilities within combat. So I've gone to a hazardous extraction site here to take a look, and again looking around here, this is a bit superior to regular head tracking. You can lean around and look right back, which of course enables me to look through all of the windows, the full view that the canopy provides. These type of canopies do help out quite a bit in combat because you can actually look over your shoulder to check where your opponents are. Obviously not down there on the stairs, but you get my point. Of course, as I've said before, the Oculus Rift really does give a great sense of the environment and a sense of scale. And moments like this where ships pass overhead are just like nothing else. So I've outfitted this gunship for combat. It's got one gimbaled beam laser on the large mount, 2 medium burst lasers, 2 medium multi-cannons and 2 small multi-cannons. This is my first time trying it out, so we'll see how it goes. And of course the Oculus Rift doesn't accommodate for stupidity. You can still clip other ships and not pay when you're not paying attention. Right, well I've only lost 1 ring on my shield. He's also lost 1 ring, but his seem to be coming up a little bit faster than mine, and I should probably at that point have put 4 pips into my shields, but I was happy to just wait and get aligned for combat. Now even with the Oculus Rift, the sense of distance between you and other ships can sometimes be a little difficult to judge, and that is in large part because 1 of the size of the ships, and 2 because there's no real reference points between you and your target ship. So although there's a truly amazing sense of depth here, it doesn't always convey the right size of scale for other ships. It's not that unlike being out on the ocean and seeing a ship off in the distance and just trying to guess at its size. You can't really do it that easily if there's nothing between you and the ship but empty ocean. So this is definitely a very powerful ship. The shields are holding up really well. I'm using a little bit of chaff. I've used a shield cell bank, but I'm not too worried about them. And of course my beam laser is doing a wonderful job of taking down the Anaconda shields, and now it's time for the multi-cannons. So combat within virtuality is not really something I've spoken about much in the past, but don't let that fool you. It's actually one of my favourite activities in VR. It is very, very immersive, not least for its ability to allow you to track ships like I'm currently doing here. Now keep in mind you're constantly aware of the physical space of the cockpit here. And then the gunship is very large, with the top of the canopy towering right over your head, well above standing distance. So when I'm here in the middle of combat, it doesn't feel like I'm sitting at home in my computer seat looking at the monitor. Instead, it actually feels very much like this. It's something that's impossible to actually convey visually on the video, and the only way to try and convey the sensation is through my description and visual aids like the image there. Now, as I mentioned on some of my other videos for the 1.4 update, the combat has been dramatically improved in the game. The ship's AI is much better now. The ships have a much wider range of tactics and they continuously use chaff. Also, you may be wondering why I'm not targeting the power plant, and that's basically because the changes in patch 1.4 now mean that getting the power plant down to 0% will not destroy the ship. Well, it's actually got a very, very small percent chance of destroying the ship, but it's basically not worth doing that if that's your aim. However, it will reduce the ship's power output by as much as 50% and may as well cause a lot of other modules to malfunction. Another reason I'm mainly concentrating on the hull here is because I want to see just how powerful the combination of my ship's weapons are here, and it's eating away at the Anaconda's hull very, very fast. We're going to have him destroyed in no time and probably get quite a nice payout. So, as I've said in my other videos, coming to hazardous extraction sites as well as the new compromised nav beacons is a good place to go and do a little bit of hunting and get a good bit of money. So, now that combat's over and done with, let's take a look at one more thing in VR, and that's the ship itself. Going outside the ship in VR with a debug camera isn't something I normally do. It's a combination that isn't that easy to use, and to be perfectly honest, it can be a little bit unpleasant. But I'm sure you're all keen to take a look there, and there certainly is plenty of details under here that we don't normally get to see. Like this printed text down here, caution and beware of sliding doors. That's possibly where the hard points come out. I haven't actually checked that. What do we got there? Maintenance hydraulic. So you can see there's a lot of details on these ships that we don't normally get to see through the regular views of the ship. Of course, getting up to the ships like this through the Oculus Rift also gives you an impressive sense of scale. These rear engines here are probably twice the size of a house, I'd say. And it's a little bit slow going, getting up the back here and trying to angle the camera correctly. And once we're up, we're about to see just how long the ship is here. Now, this really does look huge. I don't know the specifications of the actual length of a gunship, but standing here and looking toward the other end, it feels like about half the length of a football field. The bit sticking up there, which looks like to be like an aerial of some type, is probably about 3, maybe 4 times the height of a man. I'm not entirely sure what these yellow stripped areas are. They're possibly access to the hard points. What's it say? Keep it clear. Yeah, I suspect those are probably hard points. And the slats coming up here, these are the heat vents. Now, I'd love to be able to have some heat sinks on me. I haven't actually got any, but even if I did deploy some, by the time I got out here, they would be closed back up again. But it'd be a thing that'd be quite interesting to actually see out here. As I work my way up to the front of the ship here, we're getting close to the cockpit, so I'm going to move out and come back round from the front of the ship and get a little bit of a look from that end. So I've got to say, I'm actually very, very impressed with the gunship. The price of it has been revealed. It's going to cost 45 million on release. And there we have it, your look at the ship in VR. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.